Andrew in California had some questions specifically directed to you, Forrest. It looks like about sexuality and gender identity. Andrew,
I
how
saw
are
that
you?
one. Yeah.
I'm doing very, very well. Thank you guys for taking my call. I'm a big fan of Matt until one day I ran into Forrest. I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker's bright. So.
Let me fool you.
Wait, what does one have to do with? Never mind. Okay, all right. So, what do you want to talk about, bud?
A little background. I have a PhD, but it's in law and not in biology. So, my question to Forrest is, I do understand that I'm from Africa, so I know race is a social economic construct. There's nothing like white or black. Over the years, that has happened. However, when it comes to gender, does the same thing apply? Yes or no? And also, I'm an atheist. Also, Forrest, when do you say that this person is a guy? Or this person is a girl?
You said?
Or transgender? Okay. I have no problem with people who are homosexual. I fight for equality at every level. I don't believe gays, but I struggle a little bit, especially after I listened to you. I think you were with Matt the other day, and you were trying to create a distinction between whether a person is actually a woman or a man. Does that exist or not? Please.
That's a fantastic question, and the way that you phrase it is beautiful. So you're absolutely right. Like, race is a social construct because there are no actual defining factors. It's all completely arbitrary. We kind of just made it up as we go along. The definitions have changed over the course of history and all these things. And indeed, the same thing applies to gender. There is such a thing as sex biologically. A lot of times people talk about chromosomes. A lot of times people talk about external genitalia. A lot of times people talk about hormone levels. These things are actual biological realities that we can measure and we can demonstrate. Those aren't binary either. Like, it's not a one or the other, only this or that. Like, there's a lot of wiggle room. You could say it's bimodal, but like, that's not what we're talking about when we talk about gender. That's not what we're talking about when we talk about sexuality. Gender, sexuality, and sex are completely different things. So with gender, gender is also a social thing. It's a social construct. Gender is defined as an individual's representation and their society's representation, a reflection of what their culture thinks that their biological sex should behave as, or at least their perceived sex, their assigned sex at birth. How am I supposed to behave based on what people think I should do, and how do I feel I should behave for myself as well? That's what gender is. And that varies from culture to culture, from generation to generation, from person to person, sometimes from day to day. And so, for example, when we look at, the way that we structure gender today through most of the world, especially the global north, we have this very binary system of boys and girls. But the truth is, there have been cultures all over the world, all throughout history, that have had more than just two genders, or who haven't had the same defining features of these genders, that they don't have the male roles and the female roles played out the same way that we do. And so you have to start to ask yourself, when you're presented with that, does it make more sense to say that this one way of thinking has steamrolled over the rest of the world, and now that's just dominance and that's what we go with? Or does it make more sense to say that all of these other cultures were just liberals that were like, trying to change things and come up with their neo-pronouns or whatever, right? Doesn't really work that way. And so the simple fact is, like I said a second ago, and I can't stress this enough, sex and gender and sexuality are completely disjointed from each other. They're completely different things. A lot of the times they all fall in one line together, and that's awesome. But a lot of the times they don't as well. They're different things. Not a single one of them is binary. And as far as when I decide when somebody is a guy or a girl or trans or whatever, it's when they tell me. I don't presume to tell anybody what they are because I don't know them. I'm a guy and I'm as straight as I need to be. And that's all I care about. And if anybody else comes to me and tells me, hey, I'm trans, I'm gay, I'm a woman, I'm a whatever, that's fine with me. It matters to me not at all. And it's more important for me to validate them and make sure that they know that they're loved and accepted than it is for me to try to, cram them into a little box, which is what a lot of people like to think that science is for, when it's not.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Very well. Thank you very much. It does. It does more than I expected. So thank you so very much. But very quickly, though, I'm not trying to ask a second question, but please let me run the risk of doing that. Why do you guys actually, and you did that a lot today. I know Matt had a problem with this when someone said something similar to what I'm about to say. For instance, I think, Forrest, you did with the caller before the last something that I thought you could have done 3 minutes into the call, not after you guys hung up on him. You can tell right away that this person, there's cognitive dissonance. He does. It's amazing if a person can say some of the things that these Bible believers say, and they believe this shit. So if you try to tell them what you saying does not make sense, and he keeps saying the same thing, and then you, Forrest, are trying to say, no, look at it this way. He keeps saying the thing that is obviously ridiculous, that slavery. Just answer the question, yes or no. And they try to pontificate and try to equivocate. You just know something is not right with this. I'm not the Maha who thinks that religious people are fools and there's something that is wrong with their brain. But I think when folks like you guys, 3 minutes into the call, when they refuse to answer certain questions, you already know. My older sister told me she was okay for a 70, 80-year-old man to get married to her 19-year-old daughter because it was okay in the Bible. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. If your 17-year-old daughter brings a 90-year-old man, or a 90-year-old man rapes your daughter, it's okay because it happened in the Bible. She's like, yeah, I'm fine with it, And I was like,
that's so unfortunate.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when guys like that, you guys will hang up on them very quickly, and and what you said eventually after you guys hung up on him was it.
Yeah, I think that there's sometimes when you have to decide I'm not going to get through to this person. There's no way, like you said, we asked him 15 times and he's going to deny, there's no way I'm going to get through this person.
Yeah.
But there are thousands of people watching and some of them might be on the fence. And if they see how stupid this person looks for a little bit longer, it might convince them. So all I'm going to do, you have to make this choice as a teacher. I can try to bring this person in and show them reason. Or if they've made it clear that's not going to happen, I'm going to push them away farther because there's no way it's going to change anything, and everybody else is going to benefit from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing, Andrew. I mean,
you're absolutely right.
So I like to bring up in these instances. So when I very first started watching this show and listening to this show as a podcast, I was an evangelical Christian. I was a young Earth creationist. I was approaching this as one of those people sitting back and just sort of fascinated watching and thinking about, well, do I have good reasons for believing the things that I believe? And the process of listening to callers using the same arguments that I would use to try to defend my faith, just get, frankly, obliterated in real time was very, very good for me. So there's sort of two conversations happening simultaneously at all times on this show. There's the conversation with the caller and then sort of the larger conversation with the audience. So just as Forrest said, sometimes just engaging in the process, trying to have better conversations, even where it's not always possible, is useful, even if not immediately apparently useful.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much.
Have a great rest of your day.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Take it easy.
You're awesome. Thanks so much.